That's not normal, as Wanda Sykes would say. That's not normal. What's normal is we don't just ask whether the president can do it under the law. We ask whether it's moral. Is it right? Is it wrong? What's normal is that we ask whether it's a good idea. Is it a good policy? That's normal. So we're going to be normal today. We're going to talk about all those things. Constitutionality, legality, morality, whether it's good public policy or not. We're going to talk about all those things. Because I hope they're listening in D.C. They need to hear it now. It is important that they hear from big cities. As they like to say in Philly, I ain't the one. Every Philadelphian likes to say that. Well, I got something more. There's a friend of mine in the office who has a better one, better phrase. And I hope every Philadelphian thinks about this. We ain't the one, and we ain't the two either. We're not gonna be the three. We're not gonna be the four. You're not going to D.C. and L.A. and New York and coming here, because we are gonna uphold the Constitution and the laws of the United States. We are gonna hold strictly, properly, and justly accountable any National Guards person the president puts in harm's way for no good reason, who is placed in a position to cause problems rather than solve them during a period of historic low crime. And I do mean historic. We are joined today by Imam Kenneth Nuruddin, who is the resident imam at the Philadelphia Masjid, by the Reverend Carolyn Cabaness, who is the senior pastor at the historic and tremendously important Mother Bethel AME Church, which, among many other things, currently stands on the piece of real estate longest owned in U.S. history by African Americans. We are joined by Rabbi Mordecai Liebling, who, among other things, was regaling me with his own history of arrest for only good reasons, trust me, very different than the president. He gets arrested for really bad reasons. And we are also joined by two very, very capable attorneys from the DA's office. One of them is David Napiorski, who has a leadership position within our law division and has always taken a very important interest in constitutional preservation of democracy. And we are also joined by Pete Andrews, who also has a leadership position within our law division. Great thing about Pete is he worked with us for a while, and he got a very exciting opportunity in Washington, D.C. a few years ago, and that was the opportunity to prosecute January 6ers, which he did for 2 years. And he did a great job. As many of you will recall, there were hundreds of convictions. There were people in jail who needed to be there. Some of them had sentences that were on the order of 20 years. And then Donald Trump, who just can't stop saying lawless, and who, based on all the evidence, was involved in the process that set off that insurrection, that attempt to overthrow the government of the United States, then he pardoned them all, and as long as he was at it, he fired all the prosecutors who had achieved this just outcome. The statements we are making are not actually political. They are statements about law, about order, about justice, about the sworn obligation of prosecutors and other law enforcement to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the United States, about the universal moral obligation to protect each other's safety. That's what we're talking about. Unfortunately, as I've said many times, somehow my job, from the time I was elected in 17 and took office in 18, has changed. The meaning of district attorney has changed. And it has changed from being someone with an oath to seek justice within the context of public safety and to uphold the Constitution and laws, to DA, meaning democracy advocate. It is not something I adopted, it's something I swore to do. I just never really thought that the preservation of the government of the United States would be an issue that I would have to face. I just never thought that military invasion of America's big cities with a fear-based racist agenda in order to pave a path for a military takeover is something that I would face. And I deeply wish I didn't face it, but we all face it. And we better talk about it now, because this is a wonderful city. This is a beautiful city. This is a city that right now, much like Washington, D.C. and other major American cities, is enjoying historic lows in crime. And if you hear a 34-time felon, convicted felon, a 34-time convicted felon, talking about lawlessness, well, he ought to know he's good at it. When you hear him talking about insurrection, the only insurrectionist I know is DJT. He's it. He and his band of buddies that he let out of jail. So we need to talk a little bit here about a couple things. And I'm delighted to be joined by exactly the right people to have that discussion. One of the things we need to talk about is whether the invasion of big cities, when there is no actual emergency other than DJT himself by the military, is constitutional and legal. Unfortunately, the conversation often ends there, because when you get to the word morality, nobody even thinks of this president or thinks that's a conversation worth having. It is flat out assumed that he will try to get away with as much as he possibly can. And if the law doesn't permit it, then he will hope that some of the bums he put on the U.S. Supreme Court will change the law.